r/ask Reddit. What's your most embarrassing sex story? Was home for summer from college. My neighbor and I had been secretly hooking up for a little bit, and she had been over a few days before when my parents were gone. Came home one day, and my mom was staring daggers at me. She said, "You have a mess to clean up," because I'm not doing it. I had no clue what she was talking about. Then she said to go look under the dining room table. Underneath it was a used condom that I had thrown into the bathroom trash can wrapped in toilet paper. My dog thought it would be cool to bring it downstairs and chew on it under the table.
My front teeth are crowns from a skateboarding accident when I was a kid. In the military I knocked one out and spent a month using denture glue to hold it in place until my dentist appointment. Under the crown was a small bit of tooth, the crown attached to like a post. During that time I had also just started a romantic relationship with my now wife, and had not mentioned my hillbilly tooth. During an Australian encounter, my tooth fell out and I was too preoccupied to notice. When I returned from down under and we were kissing, she noticed. She pulled my head back to see what was up and did a full-on double take at my mouth. I realized what happened and started trying to explain when she reached down, fumbled around at her bits, pulled out my tooth that had been stuck to one of the labia, and held it out to me quizzically. I almost died, but she still married me a few years later.
One night my BF and I were at a bar and drinking a lot, and we thought it would be a good idea to go to him Camaro to fuck. This was in the late 90s or early 2000s, and I was wearing one of those long skirts with really high slits on both sides. So basically, even if you thought the skirt was scrunched up, it really was just the front or back part. So we finish up and go back inside. This was a bar and not a club, so it was fairly lit. I almost immediately run into a group of girls I went to high school with. We were not really friends, so I assumed the conversation was strained and awkward because of the hollow catching up. Shortly after I escaped and went to the bathroom, I basically had smeared cum all over my skirt. It was a combo of mine and his. On the front panel of skirt, like literally on the bottom, on the top. From being bunched up, it was all over the inside of the back. It was everywhere. I was so embarrassed. Was having sex with my boyfriend. He flipped me over so we could do it doggy style. All going well. Suddenly I feel a lukewarm liquid splashing on my back. After a few seconds of splashing, I stop and I'm like, WTF is going on back there? I turn around to find my BF sipping a mug of tea. He was trying to drink it while we were fucking. It was going cold, he said. He's never lived that one down. Can you tell we're British?
We were staying with my boyfriend's family for Christmas. It was my first time meeting them. The second night of our stay, I sneaked out of my boyfriend's room with only his big hoodie on after sexy times to pee. His mother was standing behind the toilet door when I came out and said, "You know, these walls are very thin. Anyway, you want something to eat?"
Freshman year in the dorms. One of the last days of the semester, a girl on a different floor invites me to come to her room and hang out. I obviously know what she's trying to do, so I ask her if her roommate is gone. She says she left for the semester, so I go down and get to her room, and we get started. We start talking a little, then started kissing. Then she starts sucking me off, and in a matter of minutes, I hear a card hit the scanner and the door opens to her roommate and her roommate's mom. Door swings open and within seconds they slam it shut. I get dressed and walk out the door, while they're still just standing there in shock. As I walk away, I hear roommate's mom start raising her voice saying, "Are you serious? You have got to be kidding me," and stuff like that. Walking back to my dorm on my floor, I'm not wearing boxers and my shorts were slightly wet from her slobber all over my dick. People definitely saw and knew what was up. As for the girl who I was with, her roommate's mom basically kept calling her a slut and didn't let her daughter dorm with her this semester. Like, okay Karen, your daughter has had more sex than me. Chill. Tinder Date got off onto my floor of my apartment building but was fucking wasted and forgot which apartment was mine, so she started yelling my name as loud as she could. I opened my door to see all my neighbors standing in their doorway staring at her. She had a 6-pack of wine coolers in one hand and her heels in another. I told her to get in my apartment quickly and started apologizing to everyone else. Most just rolled their eyes and shut their doors, but the dude across the hall started clapping. Thanks 8F. I was giving my boyfriend a blowjob under the sheets and his grandmother knocked on his door and opened it. She saw us, and my boyfriend screamed at her to get out and she kept looking. He still screamed at her to get the fuck out. When she did, he was really mad and embarrassed. I just started laughing and he joined it. When his grandmother came back, I apologized to her about what happened. She said it's okay. Two fun stories. Getting a blowjob from my girlfriend. Everything goes well. I finish, go into the bathroom to clean up and whatnot. My dick is red. Not excited member red. Blood red. It wipes off. There's blood on my dick. I frantically palpate myself trying to find the source. Nothing. Did I just come blood? Oh, I think something happened. I yell into the other room. My nose is bleeding, comes the reply. There were about 30 seconds of sheer terror for me there. I was so relieved and we laughed about it and I brought her some tissues. Same girl a while later. Getting into sexy times. She's blowing me before we get into it. My roommate's son, like 2 years old, walks into my room for some insane reason I don't remember. He had never come in like that before and I don't remember him ever doing it again. My GF and I used to go out driving some nights back when we were still in high school. We lived in a small town, so it was a reasonable activity to take part in every now and again. She and I drove out of town about 5 miles and went down this back road to a little unowned farm property and parked there, assured no one would see us. We got jiggy with it, and upon reaching just about our curfew, I went to start my car up to drive us back home. But what I didn't realize was that my car did not have automatic lights, and I had not actually turned them off all the way. The battery was drained, and my car was not going to start on its own. I called all the friends I could think of to come help us out so we could just sneak back into town, but to no avail. I'd have to call my dad. My dad, for the entirety of my life, has been someone I've been slightly afraid of waking up. He naps a lot, and always seems to do so right around the time I need to ask him for something, and he always sounds angry when I do. I can only imagine how he must have felt when I called him at nearly 1 AM, way past curfew at this point, to ask him to come and save us. But he did. I had to give him directions to this spot we had picked specifically because it was hard to get to, and eventually he got there. I had to get out of the car, my girlfriend watching, and work with him to get my car jump started again. Surprisingly, he didn't even seem all that angry. Just got my car started and went home, my girlfriend and I following close behind. To my surprise, he never rescheduled me about it, and either never told my mom, or told her never to ask me about it either. Oddly, after that, I even felt like my dad treated me with an oddly heightened amount of respect, which hasn't dwindled since. TLDR. GF and I parked a car in the country to take things to the bone zone, but my car battery died and I had to ask my dad to come save us. A bit of backstory: I was like 17. My first vehicle was a 5-speed 1991 Chevy S10 pickup. My high school girlfriend's parents were strict, so my truck was often the only place we could do the deed. It was one rainy Friday night, probably back in like 2004, and we went on a date. She was supposed to be home by 10. It was probably about 9:15, and it would take at least 30 minutes to get her back home. The mood struck. We had to act fast. We pulled over into a park where no one was at. I threw it in gear, climbed over to the passenger seat, and went about accomplishing the mission. One of her legs knocked my truck out of gear. We nosedived into a deep ditch, and I got stuck. After much debate and trying to get it out ourselves, we called her dad to come pull us out. We told him we needed to pull over because she was feeling nauseous. but there's a 99% chance he knew exactly what happened. Oh Christ. So for reference, I'm Mexican by heritage and a lesbian. I'm married to a wonderful woman and she's an absolute sweetheart, but oh my god, she's so quick-witted in the worst way. We're doing our thing. She's eating me out, and everything is going great. But we end up getting interrupted by a phone call from her work. It's one of those calls where she's been waiting for it for days, and like, it physically has to be answered. So we're both grumpy as all hell and she goes to answer it. I guess her irritation was audible to the guy on the other side of the phone. He asks her, "Oh, am I interrupting something or something like that? You know, trying to be considerate." My fucking wife responds, "Oh, no, I was just eating some Mexican." When losing my virginity, picked up a girl from a nightclub in my first year of university, proceeded to go her place, got down to business. We had the most awkward, terrible sex I can describe, entirely due to my inexperience. Once we had finished having sex, I realized the condom is no longer on my penis. I proceed to secretively search around her bed to find it while she is sleeping, to no avail. I then go to sleep, and wake up in the morning having forgotten this. 3 days later, I receive a text from her saying she found a condom in her vagina. I was fucking mortified. Wife and I are having sex. I'm about to come, so I pull out and finish on her. But as I finish, she thought it would be funny to say gobble gobble right as I finish. I'm laughing my ass off from the sheer randomness of it. It felt like I had to take a shit from laughing so hard. I then tell my wife I'm going to shit myself. She starts laughing even harder and pees the bed. Suffice to say, she will never live that moment down.